Hi students, in this video, let's discuss the first data sufficiency question which is part of the GMAT quantitative review, and after we have discussed this question, we will solidify our learning by making a similar question by ourselves. Alright, now before we get started with the video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and comment below I subscribed and I will reply personally to you. Let's get started. Now, in the first data sufficiency question, it's given that y is equal to x square minus 6x plus 9, and we are asked to find whether we can find the value of x. Remember, you actually don't need to find the value of x. You just need to know whether the given information is sufficient to find the value of x. Now, statement 1 says that y is equal to 0 and statement 2 says that x plus y is equal to 3. Alright. Now, let's get started by checking whether statement 1 alone is sufficient. Alright, remember you don't need to find the value of x in data sufficiency questions. You just need to know whether the given information is sufficient or not. Now, over here it's given that y is equal to 0. Now, if we substitute this into this equation over here, we get x square minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. And we can factorize this, right? You just need to find two numbers whose product is equal to 9 and whose sum is equal to minus 6, right? So that would be minus 3 and minus 3. So directly you can say that x minus 3 into x minus 3 is the factorization of this expression over here. All right. So you can see that if you take this as 0, you will get x is equal to 3. And if you take this as 0, you will get x is equal to 3, right? So this is a quadratic equation which has only one solution. Remember this, if you draw the graph of this, it will look something like this. That is, the function or the y value touches the x-axis only in one point, which is equal to x is equal to 3. Alright, so there is only one solution over here when y is equal to 0. Therefore, yes, statement 1 alone is sufficient. Alright, some of you may think that this is a quadratic equation and then you may have thought that there will be two values of x and hence statement 1 alone is not sufficient. But that is wrong, right? If you factorize it, you will see that this is a quadratic equation which has only one solution, or both the solutions of x are equal, that is 3 and 3. Alright, so statement 1 alone is sufficient. Now, what about statement 2 alone? Let's see that. It's given that x plus y is equal to 3. Now, if x plus y is equal to 3, then y is equal to 3 minus x. Alright, now let's substitute this back into the given equation over here. So we get 3 minus x is equal to x square minus 6x plus 9. On simplifying, this becomes x square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0, right? So I have x square over here and this minus x, when it comes to the right hand side, it will become plus x. So minus 6x plus x is minus 5x, and then you have 9 over here, and this 3, when you take it to the right hand side, it will become minus 3. So 9 minus 3 is 6. So that's how you get x square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So you need to find two numbers whose sum is minus 5 and product is 6. So that is minus 2 and minus 3. Therefore, you can factorize this as x minus 2 into x minus 3 is equal to 0. So in this case, you're getting two solutions for x, that is 2 and 3, right? If you take x minus 2 is equal to 0, you'll get the value of x as 2. And if you take x minus 3 is equal to 0, you'll get the value of x as 3. So there are two possible values for x for this condition over here. Therefore, statement 2 alone is not sufficient. Alright, so statement 1 alone is sufficient and statement 2 alone is not sufficient, and therefore the correct answer to this question is option A. Alright, now let's proceed and make a question by ourselves to solidify our learning. Remember, this is one of the best ways to learn maths. This helps you to really test whether you have actually learned what you think that you have learned. All right, so let's proceed and make a question of our own. Now, we know that a plus b the whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. All right, now to make a question, I'm just going to take x plus a value and then square it. So let's take x plus 7. All right, now x plus 7 the whole square as per this formula over here is x square plus 49 plus 14x. All right, now I will say that y is equal to this expression over here, which we found over here. All right, and then statement 1 in my question would be that y is equal to 0, right? Can you see why I'm doing this? I want to make a situation where the quadratic equation will have two solutions which are equal to each other, right? Now, when you put this as y is equal to 0, that's equivalent to putting this part over here. That is x square plus 49 plus 14x is equal to 0, right? And we have already seen that. How did we get this over here? We just took x plus 7 the whole square, right? So actually, when we are doing this, what we are doing is we are writing x plus 7 the whole square is equal to 0, right? So in this case, x will be equal to minus 7, right? So statement 1 alone is sufficient. This is how they designed this question. Can you see it? So when you make this question on your own, you can see that next time you encounter a similar question, you will know the thought process behind the question and you will be able to quickly arrive at the correct solution. Also, in questions where things are modified, because your understanding is now better, you will still be able to do it. All right, now what will I put as statement 2? I know that x is equal to minus 7 is a solution, right? Now, if I just put y is equal to 0, then x plus y would be equal to minus 7, right? Why is that so? Over here, we have seen that x plus 7 the whole square is equal to 0 when you take y as 0, right? So x is equal to minus 7 is a solution. And I'm just putting y equal to 0 from this part over here. So when I'm adding these two, I'm getting minus 7. So that's how they form the second part, the second statement over here, right? So x plus y is equal to minus 7. Now, we have already seen that statement 1 alone is sufficient. Now, what about statement 2 alone? Let's try to see that if x plus y is equal to minus 7, then I can say that y is equal to minus 7 minus x, right? Y is equal to minus 7 minus x. So let me make some space over here. So if we substitute that into the equation which we formed over here, right, what do we get? We get minus 7 minus x is equal to x square plus 14x plus 49, which is what we had over here. So we just substituted y as minus 7 minus x. Now on simplifying, you will get x square plus 15x plus 56 is equal to 0. Now this equation over here, what's the solution of this? We know that the solution of a quadratic equation can be found as minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a, right? So let's use that over here. I get minus 15, which is minus b, plus or minus root of b square, which is 15 square minus 4 into 1 into 56, which is 224, right? Divided by 2 into 1, which is 2. So this over here is nothing. This part 225 minus 224 is 1. So root of 1 is 1 itself. So the solution becomes minus 15 plus or minus 1 by 2, right? So if you take plus, you will get minus 15 plus 1, which is minus 14 by 2, which is minus 7. And if you take minus, you get minus 15 minus 1, which is minus 16. And minus 16 by 2 is equal to minus 8. So two solutions are possible. Therefore, statement 2 alone is not sufficient. And hence the correct answer to this question is option A. Now, remember, when you form a question, there is something that you need to keep in mind when it comes to data sufficiency questions for the GMAT, right? So in the GMAT, these two statements are like parts of a puzzle, right? So they have to fit together. You cannot make statement 2 such that if statement 2 is correct, statement 1 is wrong. That is not possible in the GMAT, right? So let me repeat that. When you form a question, remember in the GMAT, you will always find that if statement 2 is correct, then it cannot imply that statement 1 is wrong. All right. So, or the opposite is also true. If statement 1 is true, then you cannot have a case where in statement 2, the statement becomes true when y is not 0. Because in statement 1, it is mentioned that y is equal to 0. So again, let me summarize. The two statements in the data sufficiency question are pieces of one puzzle. So they will match with each other. So keep that in mind. So that's what I used to form the second equation over here. That is x plus y is equal to minus 7. Because first, I know that x is equal to minus 7 is a solution, right? As per statement 1, that's what we got. And as per statement 1, y is equal to 0. So in the whole puzzle, x is equal to minus 7 and y is equal to 0 should be true. So I just added them up to get x plus y is equal to minus 7. So you will see that in the previous question, that's what they have done in that question, which is an original GMAT question provided by the GMAT body, right? So it's a quantitative review official guide question. All right. So I hope you're thorough with this. Now remember, making a question is one of the best ways to learn these type of questions. All right, so go ahead and make one more question on your own. So what was the first step? Just find maybe x plus 9 the whole square. All right, so you get a function y is equal to whatever you get by squaring that, and then the first statement is y is equal to 0, and what would be the second one? That would be x plus y is equal to minus 9 in that case, right? Because y is 0 and x is equal to minus 9 is a solution if you are doing x plus 9 the whole square. All right, so all the best in your preparation, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.